trenches. Ask a nigga what he benching. Triple digits, nigga, don't forget to mention. Whole hard in the trenches. Ask a nigga what he benching. Triple digits, nigga, don't forget to mention. Don't forget I got memories, dead stain the whole room if I let him bleed. Shit was dark, I let this little light him out.
Cause I love this music, man. You know it. But yeah, I hope you good, Sleezo, man. Look, both our teams took L's this week. At least your team looked respectable. You know, at least your team looked respectable. Welcome back to another episode of the Chop or Die podcast, everybody. Let's get through the administrative items right quick. For everybody that's watching right now on Twitch, whether it's live or the VODs, make sure you are following if you aren't. If you like the content, we welcome each and every chatter. We welcome each and every caller, every participant to the show. Just make sure you are following because it's a followers only chat. So we appreciate that. And yeah, so make sure you hit that follow button. YouTube, if you are watching right now, if you're on YouTube and you are not subscribed to the Chop or Dive YouTube channel, make sure that you do make sure you do subscribe, and show your support in that manner. Subscriptions go a long way, all that good stuff. So we appreciate it. Podcast, you are watching on or listening. You can't watch a podcast. I mean, technically you can, but you get it. You are watching or listening on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google, whatever platform that you listen. Make sure that you subscribe, rate, and review. Help your kid, help your boy out. You know what I'm saying? Mual truly appreciates it. So with that being said, I'm gonna hand the phone line to you all. That's in here, 443-242-4479. Actually, yeah, I'll do it now. 443-242-4479. That is the number if you all want to call in. This is the Aftermath show, everybody. We're going to be quick with this one. Now, I say this all the time, but, you know, I truly mean it. I truly mean it, man. I do 5 shows a week. I am not a professional. This is not my job, but I love doing it. I love just giving this opportunity, giving this platform, you know what I'm saying, to talk what I got to say. And I appreciate y'all for listening. So, that being said, again, I plan to be quick. Let's go ahead and get through the Aftermath right now. So first thing first, we're gonna go. What's going on, y'all? This is Jamal, man. And listen, this is just a reminder. If you do appreciate the content, if you do enjoy the discussions, if you enjoy the videos, all that good stuff, man, hit that subscription button. We truly appreciate it. I truly appreciate it, man. We're just trying to grow out here, and support goes a long way. It's as simple as hitting that subscribe and that like button. Comment if you wish, man. Truly appreciate it. I ain't gonna hold you. Go ahead and get back to the show. See you later. Through the snap count, and just for the injuries, we're not really worried about that side right now, because there was rarely any injuries or any significant injuries coming out of that game anyway, so not worried about that side. Hello, who's this?
Hello. This is AJ.
Oh, what up, boy? How you feeling, bro?
I'm good, man. Just had to tap in with you, talk some football.
Hey, look, I appreciate it, man. I know you was at the game. Sunday, so it's kind of, I'm gonna save this topic. I don't know if you're gonna be on this week, but I'm gonna save this topic later too. But I'm since you're on the phone now, I'm gonna talk to you. First thing first, I do let people get things off their chest whenever they hop on the phone, man. So the floor is yours. Anything that you got to say about the team, anything you got to say about the week that was Washington football, man, the floor is yours.
Yeah, man, I won't really touch on the Sean Taylor stuff too much, but just yesterday, man, like, they were definitely in that game, surprisingly. But I knew eventually things were going to start clicking for the Chiefs and not for Washington. But, I mean, just overall, man, it's like the product on the field, I don't really know what the fans really have to look forward to and feel, you know, hopeful about. You know, at the end of the day, you have coaches that aren't changing up their schemes on both sides of the ball. You haven't really seen a complete game out of this regime yet put together. And in all honesty, this team really should be 0-6. You know, they got lucky with the mishap against the Giants. And you know, couple little breaks here in the Atlanta game, but this is really a a winless team, just like the Detroit Lions, if you really put it into perspective. And then I heard the presser today where Ron Rivera saying like Landon Collins' best thing that he does is playing in the box.
And then we talk
one of the
about that
reporters,
play against the Saints, bro.
yeah, and it's
Oh,
like it's like, bro, you notice, like, or do you not notice, or are people giving them too much credence because Jack Del Rio and Ron Rivera both been head coaches in this league, and they both been around the game of football, whether it be, you know, actually playing in the NFL and around the game for all these years. But I mean, at this point, you gotta start to wonder. The game has definitely passed them by because, like, they're not dialing it up. Like, you look at Baltimore, man, they don't have the front four like we do at all, but they still dial it up. You know, they have impactful players on that line like Calais Campbell,
yeah.
but they're still dialing up pressure. They're doing different things to create pressure and not just relying on the simple fact of these guys winning one-on-one matchups throughout the game. And you don't see that from the Washington side of the ball on defense. And then it's just like, even with offense, it's like at some point you have to get Taylor Heineke out of this game and not playing quarterback. You know, with Ron, you brought everyone from Carolina here except for the guy who helped you win 68 career games and 3 playoff games during your tenure as a Carolina Panthers head coach. And to me, that just shows stubbornness. He doesn't want people to say, you know, Cam Newton carried you, because I know for a fact, like, if Cam Newton came in that locker room, he would make a major impact immediately just from his personality standpoint, and he could definitely help this team win some games. I mean, whether it be getting out the pocket, even just throwing the ball. I mean, Cam's arm isn't the same like when he first got in the league, but it's damn so strong than the Taylor Heineke's is with much less wear and tear. And it's just frustrating. I mean, I just don't think fans should look forward to even having a year 3 under Ron Rivera. I mean, I was looking at something the other day. I kind of already knew it off the top of my head, but only other quarterbacks that ever started under Ron Rivera in, you know, his head coaching career has been Derek Anderson, Will Grier, Kyle Allen, Taylor Heineke, and now with Washington, Dwayne Haskins, Alex Smith, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Taylor Heineke. That is alarming, that this guy does not understand the quarterback position and what it takes to be a franchise quarterback. They kind of got not even lucky, but I mean, you couldn't really mess up that number 1 pick with Cam Newton after winning the national championship. He's a bona fide winner, but outside of that, they never could get a solid backup to win games or even replicate what Cam brought to that team. They were getting guys that don't even fit the same bill as Cam Newton to be his backup. So if he does go down, you're definitely playing a whole different type of offense than what you already have going on.
But let's talk about the Rivera thing right quick though, because you brought up a good point. I had this bookmarked for the show. So I saw a tweet earlier today. It was earlier today. Somebody said fire Ron Rivera and bring in Eric Bieniemy. And my response to that though, and this is what I wanted to get your thought on. I had this conversation about the issue. While in theory, what you're saying, especially if you know that you got it wrong from an owner's perspective or a general manager's perspective, you know that you got it wrong, or that it may not work out the way you anticipated it. Like, it's easier to cut ties. But I think the issue here, and this is what my response was, Dan has made his bed already. He married Rivera to change the culture. So be prepared to see Rivera for 2 more years at the very least. And I think that's the frustrating thing for some people who have their mind made up. And I'm not saying that they're wrong. Like I've already called out Rivera 1,000 times. Like I know what type of time we on with this coach. I'm not saying that he can't change it around. I'm just saying in terms of the odds, in terms of winning on the field, I'm not entirely supremely confident in him. But he married Rivera to the culture. He said and emphasized in his intro presser in 2020, that Rivera is here to do a ton of things. Essentially, he has to do X, Y, Z. He has to turn things around. He needs a coach-centric environment, and I'm giving it all to Rivera. That's what Dan is saying. And the optics behind everything that he's went through, his entire history is out there in terms of like how he treats his former coaches and how he's treated his coaches. He ain't about to cut ties with Ron Rivera after 2 years. It is impossible for him to do it. I give it like a 1% chance. I just don't see from an owner's perspective how somebody who's in so much deep water, going through the things that he's going through, he can sit there and convince the people that while he's made a mistake, he's changed. He hasn't changed. And while this team is plummeting on the field in terms of their viewership and interest from the fan base, a firing, though some people may want it, is going to be another huge detriment to repairing the trust that Washington fans have lost over the years with this team.
Well, I mean, I think there's two key things that we have to factor in, right? And you know, just being a businessman or whatever, you have to know when it's time to cut your losses. And if Washington keeps losing, there's no way in hell that you can go into next year with announcing a new team name and all of these things and having this guy return as the head coach. There's no way. This guy literally has control over the whole team, from personnel decisions. He has the players. He's pretty much I don't know if people use Instacart, but he's pretty much the Instacart shopper. Like, dude is able to pick whoever he wants to pick to be on this team. He's able to cut whoever he wants to cut. So he has no excuses for the personnel not matching up with what they want to do. It all boils down to coaching. But I just feel like if Daniel Snyder were to get rid of, Ron Rivera, I don't think that the fan base would be quite upset.
Hey.
I mean, there's really nothing to look forward to as a fan with Ron Rivera as, this head coach. Is so weird because, like, you got fired with a 5-7 record into the season 2 years ago, right? And you end up getting hired a month later, and now you have a job where you have even more responsibilities than you ever had in Carolina. Like, that's just weird. It was already a bad hire in the first place. Yeah. And then you're allowed to bring over all the motherfuckers that you failed with over to this new team. So it's not even about culture. It's like, at the end of the day, no matter what you do in the background in the organization and in that office at Redskins Park or whatever, you still have to win games because you're losing this team. Like, you're losing these players. These are human beings at the end of the day. Nobody wants to work throughout the week, and then you get in shellacked every Sunday. You feel me? Like, that's embarrassing. Like, you have to deal with your family, your friends, and all of those things. And the sacrifices that you're making is not to lose these games and get embarrassed every week. And if you keep doing that, you're going to lose the team no matter what culture you're trying to build. At the end of the day, winning cures everything. And if you're not being even competitive in these games, it really doesn't matter. But I just feel like, my personal take, I'm cool if Ron Rivera either decides to resign. I think that's also an option because he looks like he's worn out. He looks like he's tired of.
That's all his fault. He gave all that energy to the pressers and to the media, trying to tell them that they not war ready. They not battle hardened like he is, and he over here putting up duds of the game. That's his fault.
Yeah. So I think definitely. I don't know. I'll probably lean closer to the 70% chance that Ron Rivera is not the coach of this team next year. There's no way in hell that you could go into announcing the new team name of such a big franchise and you have this type of stink on it. You need to be able to go into next year with some new type of energy and not just words, but actually meeting, these words having action behind it. It'll be curious to see how it plays out. Like I said on the show last week, I don't know when they're going to get another win at all.
Yeah, I was looking at the schedule as you were saying that. Like, it's, Brad, when I tell you, like, the only thing that you can probably see that's, like, in terms of favorite, like, it's probably going to be the Giants on the road in week 18. That's probably the only game that you'll probably see them be favored in, or maybe Philly at home, which is going to be week 17. Before that, yeah, bro, they're not going to be favored in any games. And on top of that, when you talk about a team who's 2-4 right now, that's going to end up losing against the Packers and Broncos and the Buccaneers. That's 2-7 that you're looking at. If, to your point, and this is kind of where I would say maybe the discussions get a little bit louder. To your point, if you're looking at a team who's probably 2-12, 2-13, heading into their last few games, then it's probably that's where things are going to get bad. But I also think that's probably what Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to come back in. If he ends up being healthy enough, Ron Rivera isn't going out like that. He's going to have some pride. He's going to fuck up the draft order, and we'll find a way to win like two more games where we're outside of the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, even if Ryan comes back, it's still going to be some shit. Because, I mean, he turns the ball over just as much as Taylor has put it up there with his punt-like passes. You know, at the end of the day, this just isn't a good coach team because you have the personnel to be competitive. Like, I mean, if you even look at the Buffalo Bills, yeah, they have Josh Allen at quarterback, but is Stephon Diggs really that much better than Terry McLaurin? Nah, not really. Is Duke Dawson that much better than Logan Thomas? Nah, not really. Offensive lines is comparable. The front four on the defensive side is nowhere close to what Washington has.
Yeah.
Buffalo's linebackers are not that great. Secondary, they just play discipline, but it boils down to coaching. You know, you have somebody that came directly from Ron Rivera's umbrella, and that's why he even, you know, the week that they played Buffalo, compared them to, like, you know, we get to see what level we are on when we compete with Buffalo, because that's someone that came from under his coaching tree. You know, like, Washington looks nothing like Buffalo. Just even take away the fact of Josh Allen.
We in the same boat as the Jaguars.
They look nothing like. They don't play discipline. They don't hustle to the ball the same. Nothing looks anywhere comparable. You would have never known that Sean McDermott coached under Ron Rivera's regime. So it's just, you know, at the end of the day, it's frustrating me being a fan. I hate that I'm even a fan, honestly. But at the end of the day, it's just like you really don't have anything positive to look forward to since Ron Rivera has been head coach. And I'm ready. If I were Daniel Snyder, I would tell him, man, this is your last year, bro. Go ahead, you know, start planning your vacations with your family, and don't worry about coming back in January.
Hey, AJ, you may want to find yourself something to do on Sundays, because in 2022, it's probably going to be Ron Rivera there, and the way he's performed, he's followed up that 7-9 fluke 7-9, by the way, of a year, due to all those injuries. I'm not entirely too confident that he'll be able to. Now, I'm not going to write the book on him, you know. I'm just saying I'm not entirely too confident in Ron Rivera to really turn things around in 2022. So he's going to be there. That's my prediction. And obviously,
I think we can revisit it probably come December.
Okay.
Because I mean, I don't see, if you lose all these games, how you can feel confident bringing this guy back and saying, hey, the new team name of the Washington football team is now Washington Redwolves. And your head coach, Ron Rivera, who just finished the season 2-15, 2-16, whatever. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, you can't bring that guy back. There's no way.
You know what's crazy too?
Because if you pick a quarterback, if you allow him to draft a quarterback, you now extend his shit to 2 more years.
It depends though, AJ, because if you get it in year, he has 2 years to be like the 5-year contract thing. Like, I get what you're saying. Like, if you allow him to pick the quarterback, he's going to be here for at least the length of his contract. But nowadays, that ain't gonna hurt the young quarterback. If you got to move on after that 5th year, you know, it is what it is. But you just gotta hope whatever quarterback they drafted is strong enough to overcome the coaching deficiencies. But I was gonna bring up the point that you and it made me laugh because I swear on everything, bro. I was thinking about this morning when when you talk about a team who is on a downward spiral, and Jarian mentioned no red rules. And Jarian, I got bad news for you, buddy. The way things are going, AJ, I think one of their last ditch efforts is to feed into what the fans want, like the social media fans. And the overwhelming majority loves them some Red Wolves. And I think the only way that they can probably save or salvage whatever fan base they have left is to give them what they voted for. Now I believe that the name is already set in stone, so I don't know if they're gonna go through any hoops or anything and make some last minute efforts to change something. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's something that we kind of the minority strongly dislikes. And I think that probably they're gonna feed into what social media suggested the new name should be, just so they can save face and reel in some new fans.
Yeah, I mean that would definitely be interesting, man. It's just kind of hard to sell people on a new team name when you got this shitty ass coach behind that team. So that's just me thinking from a business standpoint. Yeah, I just don't know how you sell that and package it up, to people and make them feel hopeful if you're going to be bringing back this guy who says a lot but does little. I mean, you're going into week 7 and your second year, and you also have been coaching in this league actively, and you're telling me into your second year, week 7, you're now realizing that the best thing that Landon Collins does, one of your highest paid players on the whole team, is playing in the box. Nah, we have problems.
Yeah, we do, man. We do.
We have big problems.
AJ, bro, I appreciate you calling in, big dog. Hope you enjoyed that weekend, man. And what you want for the game tonight? You chilling?
Yeah, just cooling in the crib. About to just watch this game, see Buffalo do the Titans dirty.
Hey, relax, bro. I got the Titans +5.5 and +6, man. I need them to handle their business, man. They don't gotta win, but keep it close. Oh man, hey, you be safe, bro. Enjoy the game tonight, man. And I'm gonna holler at you, big dog. Appreciate you calling.
Likewise, man. Yes, sir.
Hey. All right, y'all. So that was my boy AJ, and I'm gonna get into this now because sounds just like the problems the Eagles got. Schlezo's hilarious. First off, you say Philly gonna spank us, and to be honest with you, the way Washington is playing, y'all defense is good enough to kind of, make that come true. But I don't know if y'all gonna sweep us. I don't think that. We probably get the split. But I'm gonna talk about this one point. Let me get the snap counts out the way, actually, and then I'm gonna circle back to it. So I'll be quick with the snap counts because, like I said, man, I'm a man of my word. We have a few minutes left. I'm not going to stay here for long, but I'm going to go through the snap counts, and then I'm going to get back to the storyline with Ron Rivera that AJ kind of spoke on, right? So, for the offensive side of the football, I'll just go through them because there's nothing significant here that really stood out. Charles Leno, obviously, all the offensive linemen, quarterback, 100% of the snaps. Ricky Seals-Jones was on the field every single play. He played 100% of the snaps. Terry McLaurin, 95%. De'Ami Brown, back up to 80%. And Adam Humphries, 53% of the snaps. Antonio Gibson, 39%. I know he was dealing with an injury. Excuse me. Antonio Gandy-Golden, Jared Patterson, both played 3 and 2 snaps respectively. John Bates, 13 snaps. DeAndre Carter only playing 12 snaps, which is kind of weird given the amount of attention that he got last week. Or the amount of reps that he got last week, which is, that's just something interesting. Last week and the week before against Atlanta. Okay, so that's the offensive side of the snaps. Defense, Cam Curl, our guy Cam Curl, 100% of the snaps. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, this felt like a college game for one team. The Washington football team's defense was on the field for 82 snaps. 82 snaps. The second half of the game, by the way, the Kansas City Chiefs dominated time of possession by 12 minutes. I think they had 20, close to 21 minutes to Washington's 9, or they had 8. It was just, I'm not doing the math. Anyway, 20-8 with a little bit of mix in between that. So they dominated time of possession in the second half. Anyway, Cam Curl, 100% of the snaps, Cole Holcomb 100%, William Jackson 100%, Landon Collins 83% of the snaps. Chase Young, Montez Sweat, James Smith Williams, Casey Toohill, and Tony. They all had a mix of snaps, and I think one of the things that kind of dawned on me as I look at these numbers too is the fact that they did mention that they didn't want the DNs or defensive linemen having like a top heavy approach. They wanted to have a mix with that defensive line. I mean, they're sticking to their word in that regard. Obviously, like they're sticking to their word in that regard, but yeah, and I'm kind of I give them credit for how they performed against the Kansas City Chiefs this week. There was quite a few pressures against Patrick Mahomes, and for that I give them credit. Jamin Davis played 100% of the snaps. Excuse me, I'm tripping. I'm looking at Bobby McCain and William Jackson, 100%. But then where's Jamin, who led the team in tackles? He had 46 snaps, which was 56% of the snaps. Khaleke Hudson, a guy that everybody was talking about in the offseason and in training camp, as he's getting elevated because of John Bostic's injury, he's only had 8 snaps again. Or I shouldn't say again, but a small percent of the snaps for the defensive side of football again. Okay, so that's that. Jarian has mentioned some team names: Armada, Brigade, Defenders, Guardians, all better than Red Wolves. You know what? I don't like Red Wolves. So I had to stop myself. I was going to say I agree with you. But if we look at all 4 of those names, it's kind of crazy how we're talking about the name talk in the middle of the season, week 6 heading into week 7. But I mean, look, that's where we are. That's where we are, right? Okay, so here we go. Back to the Ron Rivera thing. In case everybody missed it, or in case anybody missed it, I'm going to play this clip from Brian Mitchell. And for those who actually listen and actually been paying attention to some of the things I've been saying, it's not about who did it first. I'm just sitting here to say, like, you've heard this sentiment before. You heard this sentiment before. I'm going to play this thing from Brian Mitchell because I love the passion that he has, man, and the fact that he cares about the team. So I'm going to play this clip, and then I'm going to circle back to something that AJ said that kind of contributes to the conversation. So let's go ahead and play that. 1 second. I'm going to show it too. Hold on. All right. Where is the Zoom? All right.
I keep hearing after every game that we like what we're doing. I can't believe that. They were 11 of 16 giving up third down conversions. That's like 68, 69%. It's god awful. They gave up over 500 yards of offense. You look at your offense, you scored 13 points against the 32nd ranked team in defense in the NFL. If the same stuff that's being told to us in press conferences, I can see why the team is stagnant and seem to be going the other direction. Because one thing I've always loved, I know people like to harp on how horrible Philadelphia fans are, but I love people that tell me the truth about stuff. If I stink, tell me I stink. If I'm horrible, tell me I'm horrible. Don't tell me I'm horrible. Don't tell me I'm good when everything is bad. And I think I hear those say, well, you know, we love the things we're doing. We're going to keep doing them. No. You need to trash everything you're doing right now and start something else. Because what we're seeing is we see a team that was, like I'm saying, they weren't great last year. 79 isn't great, but they did win. And you can see how they were fighting. Right now, I don't see the same fight in this football team. And I think the message that's being given to them is one that's fooling them to think that they're better than what they are. Instead of telling them the honest truth, these are grown men playing in the NFL. I know we changing in the world. Everything's getting real easy, real soft, but these are grown men that get paid tons of money to play a game. And if you can't tell them the truth, then you're not the person to be running this thing. They need to know that right now you all stink, okay? And you have to get better. And the only good deodorant that's going to change it is winning and playing harder. I don't see the fight in this team that I saw last year when they said they were fighting for coach. Well, you're not fighting for him right now.
All right. Let's go ahead and get back. So that was our guy, Brian Mitchell, man. Yeah, spitting facts. QC, appreciate you checking in as well. I couldn't talk to you when AJ was here on the phone call, but I hope all is well with you, bro. And appreciate everybody who's tuning in. Just a reminder, since we do got a few more viewers, end of the Packers game, having a giveaway for, once again, all of the supporters, man, all of the people who've been checking in throughout the weeks, throughout the games, all the people who subscribed. I'm doing a giveaway, Amazon giveaway. So that is going to be for the post-game show after the Packers game. So this upcoming Sunday, we might as well play on Saturdays the way we playing, but this upcoming Sunday, I'm gonna do a giveaway, probably like two or three gift cards, something like that. I don't know, but it's gonna be finalized and it's gonna be through Amazon. So stay tight, man. Appreciate everybody who's supporting us. Appreciate everybody who's supporting me and things like that. So here we go. You heard what B Mitch said. You heard what AJ alluded to. Ladies and gentlemen, Washington went all in this offseason. And it's kind of incredible how they find their way to just continue to disregard what a rebuild is. To truly embrace a rebuild, they are not doing that. And when I say they went all in, I'll explain myself. This is all my opinion, obviously. When Washington won the division and competed against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Washington football team made several moves in the offseason, perceivably upgrades on both sides of the football. Obviously, the goal is to upgrade. But they made upgrades on each side of the football that was deemed a positive because they were quote unquote, I'm not even gonna do that, no quote unquotes, but because they were apparently better than what we had on our roster. I'm not gonna argue the offensive side of the football, but what made the defense in most games so fundamentally sound on the back end, but also a team who can rush the passer on the front end? You have to ask yourself those questions. Again, back to Ron Rivera and back to the team. They pushed Jason Wright out there. They pushed him out there. They said, look, man, you have to handle this. You have to be the face of this thing. You have to talk about how we're correcting things, how we're improving. You have to talk to the people. You have to grab the people's heart. You have to tell these people, look, man, believe in what we're doing. Because pretty soon, when this team starts winning, you're going to see how great things are and how great things have changed and become for Washington. They put Jason Wright out there. They put Ron Rivera out there. They let Ron Rivera sink or swim. They, do what you got to do to make this team better. Everybody remembers or should remember what he said in that practice on Friday, that open practice with the team. He told everybody, ladies and gentlemen, we need you in the stands. We need this stadium packed. We cannot do it without you. Come here and support us, and we will do our best to play hard for you. They went all in. They went all in. Now, 7 weeks into the season, Washington is facing the worst possible scenario that they could have had heading into this year. Like the one thing that they didn't want at all was they didn't want apathy. They didn't want anger. They didn't want resentment. These are all three different emotions that most of the fan base is feeling. They didn't anticipate the team playing as bad as they are, and the team is playing horribly. They didn't anticipate so many leaks and discoveries from the investigation. They didn't anticipate that. They didn't anticipate having to throw Sean Taylor under the bus in order to save face and do whatever it is that they planned on doing, or hide whatever it is they planned on hiding. They didn't anticipate none of that. And they went all in on the assumption that, you know what? This team may be good enough this year where things will change from the perception standpoint, but also when we roll out this new name, we're going to grab every single fan right back because we're winning. And right now they are 2-4, staring down the barrel of a possible 6 to 7 game losing streak. And then, oh, I have to tell you all the new name. Forgot about that part. I hope you guys are still interested. Ladies and gentlemen, when you fail to the level that you did, hyping up and buying in with this fan base and putting everybody out there, Jason Wright, some of the new people that's on the business side, trying to connect them to the fans, the fan ambassador information. Look, I talked to somebody from the fan ambassador today. Matter of fact, let me see if I can bring up that conversation. I hope I can. I didn't tweet much today, so let me try and bring it up right quick. Here it is. Okay, so somebody says, Big Doug said that he has a tweet. He said, I say this with complete sincereness. Wasn't something like last week, and I don't know. But he asked, what is the fan ambassador thing for? And I heard somebody say, I can contribute to saying we are a little at fault here because our idea of the program does not align with what we are actually doing. We thought the same and spoke too soon on it. He's only speaking on his area of focus. That's our guy, Keith. So I butted in and I said, correct me if I am misinterpreting. Are you saying that your idea of what the program was sold to you by the team? And to this point, the organization's actions are not meeting its words. He says, I'll speak for myself. I thought the ambassadors would have more of a direction that could get all fans involved, but it found that to be super overwhelming. And it's been sort of a focus group conversation more than anything else, if that makes sense. So what that is telling me is that the rollout of this fan ambassador thing, again, going all in over the summer. This was heavy over the summer. If you're on social media, all you knew was about fan ambassadors, was about Jason Wright, wasn't about all of these people getting connected with the organization, taking these pictures, showing their faces, things like that, having these meetings with the team, and very little production of what was said from the ambassador side was taken into consideration. That is something where you understand that now that this team is in the season, now that this team is losing, you aren't really hearing much. You aren't really hearing much and not seeing much action take place from the organization side and comprehending or acknowledging that they hear what the fans are saying. Back to Rivera. They went all in. They are failing miserably. The team is hemorrhaging on the field. They are losing. Bro, I don't even know if after these 2 weeks on the road against Green Bay and Denver, I'm not even too sure. Matter of fact, after that, it's home against Tampa Bay, if I'm not mistaken. Who's going to show up to that Tampa Bay game? Might tell me. That's 3 weeks that's going to pass until the next home game. And it's already going to be 2 losses looming. I'm not going to guarantee 2 losses, but it's 2 losses looming against the Packers and the Broncos. And then you got to come home against the Buccaneers. Who's going to show up to that Buccaneers game? This business side, everything that they've done to this point has backfired because losing on the field, but also the major grave mistake of telling people that you had no idea that Sean Taylor would have such an impact on this team and its fan base. Everything has backfired. They went all in the offseason, man, and it's backfired. So Jerry mentioned, Sleezo, he said, yeah, begging people to get in the stadium. Yeah, he did it, man. I actually wrote an article about that. He definitely did that. Sleezo also mentioned, y'all, if y'all roll out a new name, y'all still losing, just throw the franchise away and start over. Sleezo, I suggest you shut up. All right, I suggest you shut up. But back to this. QC mentioned that it's crazy. Less than 2 years ago, we all celebrated like a family before the firing of Bruce Allen. Now we seem to be in that same exact spot. Nobody works for this team. It's fans of this franchise. What's going on, appointment only? I hope all is good with you. So yeah, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a conflict of interest. You know, if you do have fans of the team, but I mean, it's not always a bad thing to understand at least what the fan base is wanting, from a fan ambassador standpoint. Okay, so one thing, I'm not going to pile on to Jason Wright because I had another thing. I had another move to St. Louis. I had another thing that I was going to say about Jason Wright, but I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm not going to go too hard on these guys. I think, let me see what else I had. I may save the coaches speak for tomorrow as well. Let me see. Do I have everything? Okay, so what ifs. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to close on some what ifs, okay? And I want y'all to contribute. If y'all want to call in too, y'all can. I'm going to put the number back in the chat. If y'all want to call in right here. But we're going to talk about some things. I'm going to be quick. 443-242-4479. Here's some what ifs, man. This is all stemming from Ron Rivera's tenure. All right. So the first thing is, and let me give context to what I'm talking about actually too, because that will probably help you all out and everybody who's listening, things like that. So earlier today, I saw a tweet. See, probably the most unlucky thing that about this Washington organization is that they've been so bad for 20 years, but somehow have failed to be the worst team in the season to secure a number 1 overall pick for a franchise quarterback. I responded. I said, although they were presented the opportunity twice, once in 2012 and once in 2020, they took 1 on 2 opportunities. They took RG3 in 2012 and they passed when they saw that same opportunity presented to themselves in 2020. So that's kind of where my what ifs derived. And when I mentioned the perceivable upgrades, it kind of contributes to this, right? What if the coaches chose Ron Darby over William Jackson III? How would you all feel about that? Looking back at it now, seeing that you have some data, what if the coaches chose Ron Darby over William Jackson III? You decided to pay William Jackson III a little bit more money than Ron Darby and what Ron Darby was asking for. You let him walk, he goes to Denver. William Jackson III is struggling in this system. He's getting adjusted to a new system. And I don't know if he'll ever get adjusted the way he's playing. Things aren't really looking good in that regard. What if Kevin Pierre-Louis was chosen over John Bostic? What would that mean for this team? Coaches loved KPL over the last season in 2020. They loved talking about Kevin Pierre-Louis and how he contributed to this defense. He was faster than John Bostic at that. Now, we know how slow John Bostic is, and they praised Kevin Pierre-Louis for his smarts and his ability to be physical, but also his speed at the linebacker position. What if coaches chose Jimmy Moreland over Torrey McTyer and Troy Apke? Now, I do have to throw Troy Apke in here, regardless of if he's only playing special teams, and I do believe them to this point that he's strictly on the team for special teams. But what does that matter when Torrey McTyer didn't really see the field up until the St. Juice injury, and then Troy Apke? Be honest with yourself when I ask you this question. When did you ever say Troy Apke's name this year? Whenever you ever said it, when has he ever said anything to make you, or when has he ever done anything to say, okay, I see why the coaches kept him on special teams? I mean, ask yourself that question. Obviously, Benjamin St. Juice played a larger role too into Jimmy Moreland being let go. But Jimmy Moreland was one of the top slot corners of 2020. You knew what you had in Jimmy Moreland. He was physical. He was aggressive in terms of the fact that he played the ball well. What if coaches chose Jimmy Moreland over Torrey McTyer and Troy Apke? What if coaches chose Morgan Moses over Sam Cosmi? Now, credit to Sam Cosmi. Cosmi is playing well. Can't take that away from him. He's playing well. He's getting adjusted into the NFL. But if you choose Morgan Moses, you free up that opportunity to take a different third-round pick. Cosmi was drafted in the 3rd round. You needed some immediate contributors. You could have chose something on the defensive side of the football to help you out, or maybe even a tight end or a wide receiver. You could have if you decided to choose Morgan Moses over Sam Cosmi. These are all what ifs, and some you may not agree with. Like, trust me, I'm just laying them out there for you to think about. You may not agree with all of these things, right? Lastly, what if coaches chose a quarterback over Dwayne Haskins and Chase Young? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna end it on that. Chase Young, to this point, you should strip the generational talent label from him. That is not a disrespectful thing. It is more so a label that people gave to him. It was groupthink. People said you're crazy if you don't think that he's a generational talent. So what do people do when they hear this? When they hear about Chase Young, they say, "Oh, they say he's a generational talent, so I'm going to say the same thing." I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't remember if I said it or not. If I did, well, I'm a fool. And this is me righting my wrongs. What if coaches chose a quarterback over Dwayne Haskins and Chase Young? Ron Rivera didn't have to marry himself to Dwayne Haskins for a year. He chose to do it. What are we seeing to this point? Again, this is me asking the question and posing an argument. Okay. I like the Chase Young pick as well, Jarian. So what has Chase Young done to this point of his career, given the inconsistencies and his inability to really stay within the scheme? That's kind of where the storyline's pointed to. He's playing well. He's beating his guys from time to time. He's doing well. It's not right. That's not the issue. But he's not making an impact on a week-to-week basis. If we talk about generational talent, if we're going to label somebody that, you should try and see if he's making an impact on a weekly basis. And he's not doing that. So what happens if you take Chase Young, take a quarterback, whether it's Justin Herbert, whether it's Tua, whether it's all Mac Jones. What if you take these guys? Oh, Mac Jones is the following year. I'm sorry. I'm tripping. I'm thinking of 2021. But anyway, you get my point. Whatever that quarterback class was like in 2020, you take whoever it is over Dwayne Haskins and Chase Young, what would this team look like? So I'm just posing these questions, man. And I just want to emphasize the decisions that Ron Rivera has made to this point. We can say, because I've seen this already, so don't think I'm making this part up. We can say, "Oh, Ron Darby wasn't nothing, man. We wasn't going to be better without Ron Darby. I mean, with Ron Darby." Or, "Oh, to hell with Jimmy Moreland, man. Jimmy Moreland does not make this defense a great defense." Or, "To hell with Morgan Moses, man. We needed to move on from Morgan. He was old and he kept getting hurt." Kevin Pierre-Louis, who the hell is a KPL? He can go to hell. You can say all of these things, but at the end of the day, what makes a good unit? People play within the scheme. People execute within the scheme. People understand each other's assignments and have the chemistry on the field in which they can perform better. So if you're saying that these decisions don't add up, I do not know what to tell you. I don't. So I'm going ahead and read off some comments. All right, let's go through them. So you knew what you had in Darby. He knew the system. Don't play William Jackson. He can ball. These coaches just dumb. Signed a pressman. And appointment, as I'm going through these comments, you kind of get where I was going at the end. The coaches signed just dumb. Signed a press man corner and got him in zone majority of the time. That's a coaching thing. Jarian mentioned Bostic over KPL doesn't make any sense. You haven't seen Apke at all. Jerry mentioned Cosme is playing well. Absolutely. Appointment only mentioned the second round pick. So I think, yeah, Cosme was a second rounder. But you get my point. That pick could have been JOK, 2 linebackers. Chase Young pick was fine. Perfect. I understand it. Like I said, that wasn't something where I actually wanted people to sit here and think that I didn't want Chase Young. But yes, it's something to think about, right? Chase Young was fine. Never underestimate bad coaching and its impact. For sure. Appointment only. Jerry mentioned that the problem with taking quarterback instead of Young is you never know how different the situation would have worked out. Herbert wasn't even good coming out of Oregon. Appointment mentioned some more. They went quarterback at Tua, would have been Tua. I agree. Who would you rather have, Chase or Tua? They should have taken a quarterback this last draft. That's another thing. Chargers are a good team. I get that. You do question the Davis pick over quarterback. And then your mom. This one is funny. Appointment mentioned your man Ron coached better virtually than in person. Jamin was a projected 4th round pick. They couldn't take on blocks, and they went and took him 19th overall. That's a fact, man. They bought into the hype. We're not gonna sit here and say that it's not gonna work out, but it's a fact that they bought into the hype with Jamin Davis. Because there's a lot of people who felt that same way. They knew, like, prior to the draft, in the draft process, he was a projected 4th round pick, like 3rd, 4th round pick, anywhere between 3rd and 5 in terms of the rounds. And he shot up on the draft boards when he started testing. So that was that. All right. So hopefully you all just took the what ifs, man, and just thought about it, man. But also, more importantly, just take into account the decisions that Ron has been making to this point. And again, whether or not you agree or disagree with them, that's not the point. Just understand that Ron Rivera has, since he's taken over and he's had this managerial role and these bottom line decisions, coach centric, these are the decisions that he's making. And you never know to which detriment that these can actually hurt the team. And you got to think back and look at them. So that's where I'm gonna leave it, right? That's where I'm gonna leave it. Okay. So I'm out of here, man. Y'all be safe. I'm gonna be back tomorrow. I mentioned the film review. I'm gonna try and get confirmation on that tonight. But if there's no film review tomorrow, then we'll still have a show. That's no big deal. Hopefully the all 32 is out, because maybe I can look at it dolo. But be back tomorrow, be back Wednesday, and be back Thursday. So all 7 p.m. Eastern, all that good stuff. So y'all be safe. Enjoy that Monday nighter. Remember, if you're betting, I got the Titans plus 5.5, and I got them at +6. So don't be assholes and don't take the Bills. All right, y'all be safe. Enjoy y'all day. Enjoy y'all night. And I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Appreciate y'all sticking in. Peace.
Whole hard in the trenches. Ask a nigga what he benching. Triple digits, nigga. Don't forget to mention. Whole hard in the trenches.